Mike Abadi is probably one of the most fascinating people that you could talk to. The man single-handedly brings happiness to over 10,000 people a week through the amazing food establishments and world legendary Mike's Chicken. Mike was honest with us, Mike was vulnerable with us, and Mike shared so many brilliant insights into professional and personal success. Listen this week on Jewish Grit. We're here today with Mike Abadi. Mike holds one of the most unique roles in the Jewish people. He brings happiness to close to 10,000 people every single week through the amazing food that he serves up through Mike's Chicken, which is a legendary chicken joint in Lakewood, as well as Kitchen One, a really revolutionary food industry. So it's a pleasure to welcome Mike to this podcast.
Pleasure to be here.
So Mike, let's start right away. You're serving, 4,000 people chicken every single week. And I remember in 2016 when you opened up shop in like a hole in the wall. And today, Baruch Hashem, with God's help, you're a staple on most people's table at some point in the week or the month. How did that happen? How do you start? Like, first of all, how did you start? Like, what gave you the drive to start?
First of all, it's great to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I was studying in Kola, and when I was studying in Israel, this is pre-marriage, I actually used to help a family who used to make food in like a sort of like a catering business. I used to help them as just a volunteer work type of thing. So that's where I got involved in
Cooking.
In food a little bit. It was for no pay. It was, totally volunteer work. And then when I got married, I knew how to make this, type of chicken nugget. Not the same one they made, but I made it for my in-laws, and I was broke, completely broke at the time. So my mother-in-law, in her, amazing mother-in-law kindness, said, "You should sell this. You should sell this." So I started selling it to a few friends here and there. And then from there, it just grew. It had many, many ups and downs that would span a very long conversation. But those were the beginnings.
And then at some point, you're just like, I need to take this into a real commercial space.
Yes. So I was actually asked to come into an existing retail shop. It was in Deal, New Jersey. And make my product there and sort of sell it back to them. So I didn't have overhead. I was just selling product. But I was very limited in what I could do there. So a friend of mine came to me and he said, I had someone over and they tried this and it was amazing. He's like, "Why isn't this everywhere?" So he asked me, he's like, "What do you need?" I got back to him. "I need $30,000. So with $30,000, I thought I was going to get equipment, build out a kitchen, and just start a business.
Open up shop.
And open up shop. I have no idea why I picked that number. Again, I really have no clue. It was a complete and utter disaster. I took out an old mechanic shop. I was just underfunded. It was awful. It was a very sad sight, but we got it up and running, and we're talking bare bones. I'm like, I can't afford a hood system, whatever. I got a $90 like Weston deep fryer from like Amazon. I started frying chicken, and then I sent people platters, and somehow I started getting walk-ins. Like people would come in and like, am I in the right place? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me just turn on the fryer. And, it was like a 45-minute ordeal to get one person.
But I remember early on, people were saying that the best chicken you can get anywhere is in that little hole in the wall. So you had a product, obviously, that
right, but I didn't know.
You were gifted. You didn't even understand that.
Yeah. I'm like, why are people?
So when in your career did you all of a sudden turn the corner and all of a sudden things kind of start coming together?
So then things were picking up, and little did I know it became like a cool thing that people know to go to this garage to get chicken. I'll tell you the hardest thing I remember was the time, the downtime. Especially in the wholesale days when I wasn't.
Would you have, if someone would have tapped you on the shoulder and said, let me just fast forward you 10 years, 9 years, that you are the most popular probably eatery, one of the most popular eateries in the kosher world in the United States probably, what would you have told them?
Wake up, you're dreaming, or I would have the guy admitted. I never, ever, ever would have believed, that it would come
So what
close
happened?
to this.
So to what do you attribute your incredible, turnaround from literally?
Okay, so in my case, it was it was painfully obvious that I could not attribute any success to my business acumen. So it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard to attribute my success to Hashem, to God. And you know what? We played that card all the way, and we've only seen success with it.
I don't know that much about business, but that's okay because neither do you.
Right, exactly.
So I think if I'm not mistaken, Mike's Chicken should be a full-time job. I mean, you're serving a lot of people and you're open all the time and constantly coming out with new sandwiches. And my understanding, you told me this, is that you do a little bit of the marketing yourself and you're writing.
Most of the marketing.
Which is very talented. You have great stuff.
Thank you.
But that wasn't enough. You needed to start another thing. And that's called Kitchen One. First, tell us what Kitchen One is, because it's so interesting.
Kitchen One was born actually of just a strategy of how can we sell more chicken. I said, even if we broaden our menu to be like those, kosher places that are very confused and they're selling shawarma and they're selling sushi, right? And if it's kosher, we're selling it. So even if we did that, which would be, basically marketing suicide. But even if we did that, no one's coming to a place called Mike's Chicken more than once or twice a week,
right?
Period. So we said, how could we bolster our own business? So we had this idea to make a digital food court. We leveraged existing software. I initially designed all the brands. I did all the marketing. And we approached people out of our immediate space. No burger places, no other schnitzel places. We approached the dairy and
the bagel places, the pizza places,
the vegan places, and that And we said, hey, we have this platform. We take you give it to us at a 10% discount, like you would give to any other wholesale customer, and then we mark it up on the platform for 10%. And we approached all the office buildings in the area, and we said, this is free of charge. You can order from any of these restaurants, and it'll come to you at the same time every single day. And the way that works is that the end user will order from a website, it's customer facing, and they can order from, today there's, I think, over 16 restaurants. 4 or 5 are our own, meaning individual brands, and they can order across those 16 restaurants. All the restaurants deliver to us, and then it goes into a staging area, and it's just complete chaos. It's hundreds of bags. This driver's going here. We utilize cutoff time, so the orders are batched. It's like a UPS on steroids, for 3-4 hours of the day. And then we send out our drivers. We have 10 full-time drivers.
So I'm going to cut you off here because just to explain the magic of this.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine works in an office, and every Tuesday that office gives lunch so they order from Kitchen One. And what they were telling me they love the best is that they happen to like the iced coffee from Establishment A.
Right.
They like the bagel
panini
from Establishment B and the dessert from Establishment C. And they literally, that's how the entire place orders. And at some point, everyone knows, the avocado sourdough, that's that guy over there. Oh, don't forget their coffee from that place.
Yes,
and that's what that's the
yes.
genius of this, that you literally can get a hand-picked menu. Just what you're sharing with me is so amazing. You have a guy who's in literally the dumps, who's feeling so worthless when he has downtime that he doesn't feel like he has a purpose besides when he's frying chicken or making chicken. And then Baruch Hashem today, with God's grace, like you were saying before, you have 2 incredibly successful, food initiatives. That's like, they say hindsight is 20/20, but that must be a pretty substantial rearview mirror.
hindsight is a lot more sunny than when you're in the thick of things.
So I want to ask you a personal question here. In 2016, I'm sure you had a definition of success.
Yes.
And in 2025, I'm sure you have a definition of success. How far apart are those two definitions?
So from a business perspective, that's a very evasive question because I'll let you in on a secret. There's no such thing.
What does that mean?
What that means to me, this is an opinion. Which
I asked Mike Abadi.
Yeah. Once you get to where you wanted to be at, last year, and you hit your goals. Now what? Now I'm successful. Okay, so I could just sit and revel in my success and accomplishments. No. Personally, when that happens to me, when I complete one project, I'm like, okay, that's done. What are we doing now? It's a unicorn. You're constantly chasing it and running after it. You could have a roof over your head. You could be feeding your family in a very respectable manner. But success to most people, in my opinion, is a really elusive.
It's a moving target.
It's a moving target. It's a moving target that it's very difficult to catch. If you're looking at it from a business perspective.
Now, can we look at it from just a more holistic perspective, personal, whatever? What is your definition of success?
Taking the time that God gives you, and doing the things that are important to you and in line with your values, but aren't weighing down on you and in your face. I mean, someone told me something very smart. He said, if you had the time to do something, whatever you wanted, I'm going to add 3 hours to your day, what would you be doing? And I answered the question. For me, it would be, learning Torah, studying and the like. He's like, so that's what you should be doing right now. That's what, when I have the time, it always goes back to the same thing. You got to take control and call the shots.
What's your favorite thing in any food establishment in the entire Lakewood?
It's not my style to do this, but it is something on our own menu.
Okay, what's that?
It's a kale chicken Caesar salad.
Are you guys thinking of opening another Mike's?
Thinking, but...
Mikey's?
Management. That's
Okay.
It's easier said than done. I can
ask you a technical question.
Please do.
So you're a guy in Kollel, right? Studying Torah full time. And by the way, I've seen you study Torah. The mind's still there, and when you share a nice thought, you're all in. It's great. It's very inspiring, actually. So you don't have no business training, correct? You learned how to cook when you were volunteering in somebody's house in Israel on some level. Yeah. I guess anything that's tech is probably self-taught. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
So how does a guy with almost no formal education, at least in business or in technology or processes, all of a sudden become a guru? Like this Kitchen One is processes and tech. That's what it really is in essence. Okay, there's logistics. Who taught you all this stuff? YouTube?
No. So a lot of it was conceptual, meaning in my mind I said, this is how things could and should work. And then it's just a matter of finding the resources and the right people, or God directing you to those people to make that happen. And yeah, it was something that just sort of, with Kitchen One specifically, it was something that I was just sitting and something clicked.
It's like a gift. Boom.
Yeah, something clicked, and then I just took it from there and ran. But a lot of the technical things and the like were self-taught, and it was more of, there was no rule that says you have to do everything like the other guy's doing. If it makes sense in your mind, then trust yourself. that was that was a big tool that I picked up in.
How often does your family eat Mike's chicken?
Once a month,
Really?
maybe twice a month.
Are they like so over it?
Half and half. We don't bring it a lot, but they like it still.
Well, some people eat to live and some people live to eat, right? That's what they say. Mike, you're a proud Syrian Jew. What are you most proud about being a Jew?
It's heritage. It's a connection to something greater and bigger than the self. And there's no, there's no replacing that. There's no replacing that. When we look at ourselves as an individual, it's easy to get lost in that. Then I'm just one person. How much could I do? How much could I accomplish?
How much do I rate?
How much do I rate? How much do I rate? And no one likes to self-promote. And, if you're a real straight, square guy, why do I matter? But if you look back and who your father was and your father's father and your father's father, all the way back in the Torah to Avraham Avinu, then you're part of a great nation that's traceable all the way back. That, I don't know. To me, that's
Larger than life.
Yeah. It's larger than life, and we could accomplish things as a nation. You're part of a whole, right? You're part of a whole. You could accomplish things as a nation that aren't really possible as an individual, and that's the power bank that we're drawing from. So that's to me that's
very meaningful. Thank you for listening to Jewish Grit, an Olami Mentorship podcast. At Olami Mentorship, we believe that everyone needs a mentor. What better way is there to tap into your personal and professional potential than with a Jewish mentor at your side? Learn more at olami.org/mentorship. Don't forget to keep listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.